never give it back.
From CHGO, it's Adam Hoge.
I don't think that this is a full rebuild, but you definitely have to retool your roster.
And from The Athletic, it's Adam Jahns.
Hey, what's up, Flus?
And we're going to have measurable ways for standards of performance every single rep, every single game.
Anyway, who cares?
Now, here they are, the Adams, Hoge Jahns.
What's up? Welcome in. Johnsy, I'm not going to lie. You know, when you guys hear that open that we play, I was about a quarter into this game. I almost texted Kent to say, hey, we got to change that open because this is a full rebuild and I sound like an idiot. But then the rest of the game happened and it's like, okay, we're back to where we thought everything was and it's not that bad.
Kirk Cousins made it look so easy early on. Did he not?
He did that just for you.
You like that. You like that.
He knew you were watching. He's like, I got to put on a good show.
Perfectly. Yes.
Yeah.
Ready to talk about you. 18 for 18. But then the Bears battled back, man. Showed a little bit of a backbone. I love it.
Yeah, once they started doing what we've been screaming for, which is be more aggressive. Let them play.
Well, at that point, when you're down 21-3, you kind of have to be.
But didn't it kind of prove what we've been saying? You know, be more aggressive. I wasn't even calling for onside kicks, but I'll take that too.
Yeah.
You know. But then they end up losing anyway, and they find a way to make it infuriating too with the not getting out of bounds by Amir Smith-Marset.
Oh, we've seen that before, right, Bears fans?
Oh, my Lord. Yeah.
Marion Barber, anybody?
Brutal. Anyway, welcome in. Hoge Jahns here with you. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. It is a Bears loss, but it's one of those losses where you're like, okay, a little bit of progress here. Would have been nice to pull it out. You can see the deficiencies on the team.
Don't say it. You're gonna say
I'm not
moral
saying
victory. Okay, please. Thank you.
I actually just got done doing a whole hour and a half post game where I was like, I don't like the title of this. I don't like that we're calling this a moral victory. It's a loss. I like to call it a loss that had some positive development.
It's too long, though.
Yeah, I know.
Can you make that an acronym?
Yeah, but that's why moral victory is a cliche, because it's just easier to say.
Probably.
Yeah.
But when your quarterback plays this well, I mean, there's a lot of things to what's your saying? There's the positive developments when they deal with your starting quarterback in the second season and his fifth start in this new system.
But that's another thing, too. It's like we set our expectations so damn low that we're happy about a 200-yard performance, too.
Going in this game.
I know.
Well, we didn't set that bar. They set the bar for themselves, and that bar was at 97.5 passing yards, total net passing yards average over the first 4 games of the season. I love that you're having a beer.
Absolutely, baby. We got some Moon Man going here. It's better than Spotted Cow. Don't at me.
I'm drinking a coffee at 5 p.m.
Fact. I just got done with some tea. You know, now we're on it's a long day. But, look, let's start with Fields because that's usually where we're starting. Here's what I liked because at the beginning, they're so discombobulated. Everything looked awful. We'll get into that here in a little bit, especially with how they started the game. But Fields was a part of that too. Like his accuracy early on was not good. Ball placement, not good. And then all of a sudden they get in that sort of a desperate situation, right? And you absolutely need a drive at the end of the first half to get some points on the board. And they, I thought there were some nice calls from Getsy in there, a little bit of creativity in there, and all of a sudden you get going and you feel better going into halftime, right? And then it was really that drive coming out of half, I thought, the second touchdown drive, where that was actually like, oh, this is Fields' drive. This isn't play calling. This isn't, run game, gimmickry, whatever. This is actually Justin Fields is in a rhythm for the first time all season. This dude is slinging right now. He's feeling good. There was touch on his passes. The ball placement was good. The ball was going downfield. I thought it was interesting, Johns, on the broadcast. The sideline reporter, I think coming out of half, said, Matt Eberflus just told me we have to get the ball downfield. And I was like, no shit. But like, it's interesting that he
obviously
said that
works.
Right?
Yeah, that might help score points.
It was definitely one of those actions speak louder than words things. Like, okay, let's actually see this. But then they did it. They actually did it, and Justin looked pretty good and comfortable. More importantly, he looked comfortable and confident for like really the first time all season.
See, I'm of the opinion that some of those downfield throws actually existed or potentially could have existed in the first 4 games. Certain
I agree.
things threw it off. He missed some wide open throws. Receivers weren't in the right spots. The Giants blitzed the hell out of the Bears. They really did that. Their pressure packages just completely they couldn't handle them. This game was a bit different. Justin Fields looked comfortable in the pocket. Ball got downfield. He found the rhythm. And I would say even now, I think Justin Fields might agree with us and say that stats actually matter. Like you could see tangible progress. Like it's just not arguing over certain points like, oh, that was a good throw. Guy's got to catch it and stuff like that. Like you can actually see there's measurement to it now. I think that means something for him. It has to mean something for him as he goes forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's okay to be a little bit celebratory about the offensive progress. Justin Fields, most importantly, because guys, let's be honest. Like it's been bad, and I know nobody wants to hear the negativity, but it's been bad to the point. I'm sorry, I'm saying before today, and even into the first quarter today, where you really, I don't care who you are. Ryan Poles or the most meatball of fans out there, okay? Or one of us here on this podcast, you couldn't watch what you saw the first 4 weeks of the season and not at least have some thought of, they might need to go get another quarterback next year, right? Like not like a done deal, but at least be thinking about, oh no, this is happening again.
Well,
I don't know
if you're a Bears fan, you're almost conditioned to it because that thought should creep in your mind as positive as you want to be.
Right.
Because we've seen it before. Katie McNown, Rex Grossman, Jay Cutler to a certain extent. Mitch Trubisky was just here. Of course that thought should seep in, even if it's the tiniest voice in your head.
But at the same time, all of us also know, mainly because we see them on other teams, what like a real talented quarterback's supposed to look like. And Justin Fields does look like that at times. Like you still, I don't care who you are, same conversation. You look at him and you can't help but look at him sometimes and be like, this dude should be really, really good. It's different, I feel like, than with Mitch, where you always felt like you were kind of stretching a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, right? Like, Justin's built like an elite quarterback should be built, and he can do all the things you want him to do. And so there's, at the same level of all that doubt creeping in the last 4 weeks, there's also this confusion. And now I'm speaking for myself because I'm sitting there watching the tape and I just feel this confusion because I'm like, how could it possibly be this bad? Like, I was relatively confident that whatever that floor was for him was way higher than what we had seen the first 4 weeks. I still feel that way. So it's just good to have a game like today where for at least a half, maybe a little bit over a half, he finally looked comfortable, confident, like he was making progress within this offensive system, and there were positive results for once.
And you're not like you know my point where you're like arguing about that progress, where you're trying to talk yourself into seeing progress that may or may not be there. You know what I'm talking about? Because we did that with Mitch a few times, right? I think everybody was guilty of that, right? But now you got like tangible proof. All right. So passing yards per game heading into this one over the first 4 games. This does not count sack yardage, but he averaged 117.8 passing yards per game heading into this game.
Yikes.
He has 208. His completion percentage was 50.7. 50.7. It's not good. And Luke Getsy is on record saying it should actually be worse because he has to throw the ball away on certain sacks. Because his completion percentage today, 71.4. Sometimes he was taking those, what was Getsy's word? Those easy, cheap completions, right? He had one late against to David Montgomery, like for 8 yards.
Yeah.
Get those. He got those. Passer rating heading into this game, 58.7. Today, 118.8.
which I think was his career high.
Yes.
So, no, that part was good. That part was good. Now, can I rant on something?
Yes. This should be good.
How in the world? I don't care what level of football this. I don't care if this is Adam Johns coached flag football. How do you come out on the first damn play of the game and not have the right personnel on the field?
Yeah.
How? You script that. You walk through it at the hotel the night before. Everyone knows what the first play is. You know if you should be on the field or not on the field. I do not understand that.
That was on a Curry Blazing game, correct?
At least he was the one that was out there. Yeah. Now,
like I heard, like Fields gave him an excuse, right? He's on the kickoff return team.
Yeah.
Maybe he forgot a bit. Maybe he's having a conversation with some other special teamer after what happened on the return. But the first 10 plays, sometimes first 12 or 15 are like usually scripted and have gone over quite a bit.
John, you're an offensive player on kick return. You know there's an offensive play coming up next. And I don't care if it's the fourth quarter. You should be like, okay, am I on the field or not? It's the first play of the game. You should know you're on the field. Like, unless they completely went off script, which would be really weird for that early in the game, and like totally change something they weren't going to be doing. I don't understand that at all. But that was one of many awful things that happened early on in this game where you're like, what is happening? Johns has got anonymous texters coming in. He's tweeting about Mark Trestman. Like, that's how bad it was.
I won't name this person, but it was someone who worked for the Bears for a long, long time. And let me find it. Feels like a Trestman primetime game. The Bears rebuttal? No, it does not. But like Justin Jefferson, one of the greatest receivers going in this game right now. I know he's going to get open, but like every single play he was open, not just by 2 or 3 yards, but like wide open. 5.
It was bizarre. It was like they'd never seen this guy on tape before. Is the Bears defense bad?
Well, their secondary is extremely young. And some of that probably came into play. Some of that might be coaching. Now, they did seem to find certain answers for certain things as the game went, but to have a special player like that just running wild, it just felt like the Bill Belichick philosophy where I'm going to take the best player away and make the other guys beat us. Mm-hmm. Felt like the exact opposite of that.
I mean, but I will say, other than like the 2-point conversion in the second half, they did seem to make adjustments on Justin Jefferson. In fact, that shot play they took when they were desperate and they got the call on 4th down, which was, I think, a correct call, holding on Velus Jones. If you look, it's like they had triple coverage on him, which is one of many reasons why you shouldn't have held him at the line of scrimmage, because you had help from 2 people over the top. But so they did make an adjustment there on Justin Jefferson. But again, like last week, like it just felt like it took too long. How does Kirk Cousins start the game 18 for 18?
You like that?
Oh,
he made it look easy. Did he not? It just felt too easy early on.
That's where I know that was the first touchdown they've given up in the second half.
They're running trick plays where Justin Jefferson's throwing 23-yard passes across the field.
like easily, too.
Yes.
Easily. Oh,
but that's how crazy this game was. And that's why I don't like moral victories. But this is a game, speaking of Trestman, heck, even maybe Nagy, where it goes and it just gets uglier and uglier, and the guys just kind of throw in the towel. You got to give credit where credit's due. They ground themselves back into this game.
Yep. And they did a really good job before and after half, which is called the middle 8, that like the middle 8 minutes of the game, and games can really swing on that, and they came through with 2 they won the middle 8 14-0. That's what got them back in the game. So
special teams,
small thing too at the special teams again was pretty good. You
got a block in there.
They blocked field goal. When you're going to try an onside kick, you can't do an onside kick thinking you're definitely going to get it. You have to be prepared to not get it, right? You can only do it in a situation where, you're either desperate at the end of the game where you have to have it, or in a situation where, and it sounded like Eberflus said after the game, like he warned his defense it was coming and they might have to make a big stop, which they did. It was still a well-executed onside kick. You give the Vikings credit for watching the ball.
How many times did you rewatch that play?
I watched it a couple times because the key is all on
diagrammed it a little bit.
What you're looking for on film is the front line of the return team bailing too soon.
Yeah.
And not moving till the ball is actually kicked. And I'm guessing that's what they saw on film. And then to their credit, they corrected it and it didn't happen on that, which is why the Vikings were able to recover it. It was good awareness by them. But then you come back and you block the field goal, which was a pretty good field goal block scheme. They got 2 players in there. Our guy Adam Amin was actually confused on which guy blocked it because there was 2 guys right. Actually, looked like there were 3 that could have had the block. So special teams did a good job of keeping the Bears in this one as well. And but it was tough watching the Vikings then march. The Vikings had like the perfect drive at the end of the game. They took 7 minutes off the clock. Tick, 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 tick. They kept converting on 3rd down over and over and over again. And it just didn't seem like the Bears defense had any answers.
12 for 15 on 3rd downs.
Oh, I saw that earlier. That's bad.
80%. 80%.
What did Luke Getsy? Luke Getsy got asked this week what their goal is on 3rd down as an offense, and he said
something like 50.
He said 48% because that's number 1 in the league, and their goal is to be number 1. 48% is number 1. The Bears defense gave up 80%.
So they were ranked 23rd in 3rd down conversion percentage heading into this game at 42.3%. I'm guessing they're going to
basically be last.
Yes. 80% changes numbers a lot there when you're talking about percentages there.
Yeah. Hey, last defensive takeaway though is a pretty good one. We've talked a little bit about Kindle Vildor looking better this season. Tackling's been better. But that being said, he's still just sort of a solid player, right? He hasn't been bad.
I thought you were going to call him a guy there because I think he's better than a guy. Solid player is a good compliment.
Well, he had been up to this point, but what I'm saying is if he's going to start picking off passes now too, that was his first career interception today. Okay, well, now we're talking about a guy who's actually elevating into should be a starter. And I think,
because
through
there's ball production now.
Yeah, through 5 games, he's been because there was definitely a moment, and I think we talked about this during training camp, when you're looking at the depth chart and you're going, man, they're 1 injury away from Kindle Vildor and Duke Shelley still being your guys that are out there on the field. And that's really, really bad. Now they got rid of Duke, and now Kindle is actually looking like he belongs out there.
He fits.
Yeah.
Solid player, you called him. I think those are the exact words that Matt Eberflus used to describe him on Friday. Called him solid, really solid.
Yeah. Now,
winning over the coaching staff.
If the Bears are a playoff team in the future, is this version of Kindle Vildor good enough to be starting on that type of team? I don't know. He's still got to show more growth, but he's still a young player. He could still get better, and he is showing that improvement. So it's just something to continue to watch.
Like, since we're on the defense here, like Justin Fields needs a number 1 wide receiver. Like, he needs maybe a little more help on the offensive line, tight end help. But this defense, it's got holes, man.
Yeah.
It's got holes. I thought Kindle Vildor, I think he almost led the team in tackles. Seemed to be around the ball a lot. He made 1 great play. Who was it on? Dalvin Cook? Was it a screen to the right? I can't remember. Where he kind of broke off his coverage and kind of broke it up. I should have taken better notes on that.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But he played like it's you hope not Kindle Vildor, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, Eddie Jackson, I thought looked good, pretty good again today. Aggressive tackling, but
I'll tell you one thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you know who the Bears' leading tackler was?
Hold on. You're gonna make me guess?
It's somebody you don't want leading the team in tackles.
Jalen Jones?
Yes. And number 2, tied with Nicholas Morrow, is Kyler Gordon.
Okay,
so
that's not good. Yeah, not
a lot
good.
of tackles being made downfield after the, now one of Kyler Gordon's tackles was that really good tackle near the sideline on 3rd and 5. I think that was 3rd and 5.
Maybe that's the play I'm thinking of. I'm merging plays in my head here.
Maybe. Yeah, that was Kyler Gordon. That was a really big play on 3rd down. Now, unfortunately, the 4th down play was the next one, and they got the penalty that kept it going. But I think that's probably the play you're thinking of. It's hard to be disappointed in a player who came into this game leading the NFL in tackles. But I'm kind of disappointed in Roquan Smith so far this season. Like, he had that one monster game a couple weeks ago, but the other 4 have been underwhelming to me. Is that fair to say?
Well, you're looking for him to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, too, is the standard of that weak side linebacker that's been set by players before him, is it not?
Yeah, and talked up by his own head coach.
That's what I mean. Well, because
Yeah.
he has the best weak side. He just coached the best weak side linebacker in the game in Indianapolis, and Shaq Leonard.
Yeah. I 8 tackles today for Roquan Smith. There was a missed tackle, a big one on that last drive. I think that was on that last drive where he missed him in the backfield, or almost the backfield. He ends up getting the 1st down. Just yeah, and a couple comments here as we're doing this post game live that maybe they win the game if Jalen Johnson's playing. I do think that could have made a difference.
He's your best quarterback, absolutely.
Do you get the feeling that Jalen Johnson might be ready to go by Thursday, though? Like, maybe that was a calculated decision. Oh, he's close, but let's make sure he's good to go by Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's possible.
Again, I think we're learning how this coaching regime handles injuries still.
Yeah. Well,
Like
tomorrow's the best injury report of the season. The hypothetical if we practiced injury report.
Yeah.
Which cannot be cross-checked with film or anything. Like, technically the NFL can look at your practice film and find out if you're lying on your injury report. Like when J.J. Watt had a calf injury, but really he had a heart attack.
Jeez.
Tomorrow, you could say whatever you want on the injury report tomorrow.
Doesn't count. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all hypothetical. Speaking of injured players, look good today? Montgomery,
our guy.
Montgomery.
I think they should have just kept it. Like, why do they even fix the jersey? Just go Monto. Full
Montgomery. Yeah, Montgomery looked pretty good today coming off. Like, he suffered that injury. They called it like a knee ankle. I thought he was done for a while.
Oh, yeah. It didn't look good.
One game. He just missed one game.
He must have the greatest. I was going to say ligaments, but really the muscles around his knees and ankles and everything must be so good that they just absorb all the shock. Because that's the second time in 2 years I thought he was out for the year.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm good.
That's a good point. He's got some Wolverine in him.
Yeah.
First play from scrimmage. Looked fine. Made a cut. Showed some burst. Got up the field.
He was making the same cuts that he was making earlier in the season to make guys
Spun
miss.
into the end zone on his score. Nice job, Monto.
Yeah. What was the split on rushing? 12 carries for David Montgomery. He only had 20 yards? Wow, I would not have guessed that.
Well, here's 4 receptions for 62. That's where it looked better.
Yeah. So 12 carries for 20 yards. Khalil Herbert had 4 for 11. So the Bears really didn't get the running game going. Most of Justin Fields was the leading rusher, and that's with his touchdown getting called back.
What was that, 52 yards?
Yeah. So he would have been close to 100 yards, pretty much right at 100 if that had counted, which that was Amir Smith-Marset 2.
Is that how we're going to end this podcast? I was waiting to get to him.
Do we have to?
Have you watched the replays of that again? Cole Kmet is literally pointing. Get out. Get out. Get out. Yeah. I'm willing to forgive the first miss he makes, right? The guy's trying to keep him in bounds. He makes a good cut, gets upfield, gains a couple more yards. But then there was like a second there where you're like, oh, there's space. The defender's 2 or 3 yards off, closing in. but there's room to get out of bounds. You just dive out of bounds. Cole Kmet's coming in, pointing out of bounds. Maybe next time, Cole, shove him out of bounds.
Yeah,
I'm to lose, man.
Yeah, I am. It's funny. I went into that last drive being like, okay, whatever happens here, like I don't think there's a whole lot to be upset about. Even if Justin throws an interception because he's kind of forcing, you have to force the ball downfield in that situation. Like, it's been a good day. But then they in the most Bears way possible found the way to make you angry because it's the most simplistic thing. Get out of bounds. Guy who probably shouldn't even be on the field to begin with. Catch the ball and go out of bounds. Get to the next play. Forget the fumble, Johns. Like, if he doesn't even fumble the ball, that's a bad play. Yes. He gets tackled inbounds, clock's running. Can't have that. At that point, that's still an awful play that we're sitting here complaining about. And then on top of it, he just lets the ball get ripped out of his hands like it was nothing. I mean, it just shows a complete lack of awareness in all. It's hard to, of all the bad things that happened in that game, David Montgomery's jersey being misspelled among them. This was worse than whoever's job it is to spell one of the best players' names on the jersey. That was worse.
I've seen misspelled names on jerseys before. That just makes me chuckle. But that ball was that's like a big brother stealing the ball out of the hands of the little brother, where he doesn't even try to tackle the little brother. He just takes the ball from him.
He takes it, yeah.
I see that all the time in my backyard.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me. I get you want to make a play for your team, but you need more situational awareness. I don't think that's indicative of what the Bears are building towards under Matt Eberflus. I really don't. I think it's just a young player trying to make a play, and he's got to learn in that situation, but it's a tough way to lose to a divisional rival, man.
Well, the reality is 2 plays. The game's probably different, and they both involved Amir Smith-Marset and Dantzler on the Vikings, because that was the guy he blocked in the back on the touchdown. And you can argue about whether or not that's a good call or not. The reality is he didn't have position. His positioning on the block was wrong, and so you should have just let him go and hope Justin makes the guy miss. Okay, and you talk about awareness. Give Dantzler credit. He understands the situation, and he sells it to the ref. It was a little bit of flopping, absolutely. But he did what I guarantee you he's coached to do, sells it to the ref, gets the call. Then at the end of the game, same 2 players involved. One doesn't know to get out of bounds. The other just takes the ball away from him. So right there, those 2 plays end up being 2 of the biggest plays in the entire game.
Can I make one more receiver complaint?
Well, there's plenty of those.
You know where I'm going with this one? Dante Pettis.
Oh, yeah. If you can't catch the ball, get off the field.
Give those snaps to Velus Jones Jr., who scored on his first touchdown.
Yeah, and by the way, maybe if you're going to run a screen on a 2-point conversion, which I hate to begin with, throw the ball in the end zone on a 2-point conversion. I hate when the ball is thrown short of the goal line on a 2-point conversion.
And that's you saying Getsy's had a good game today. Overall,
he did, but I hated that call because not only do I hate that you're throwing it short of the goal line on a 2-point conversion, but you're throwing it to a guy who hasn't caught the ball in 2 weeks. Why is that designed for Pettis? That should be a play designed for Velus Jones. I hated that. I liked that they went for it. Or I should say I didn't care. I think that early you can go either way. But I didn't like that they threw it to Pettis. He's struggling right now.
Well, a great example of how the Bears need help at receiver. And I'm sorry, everyone, whether asking in the chat right now or will on our Q&A this week. I don't know who's coming. I don't think anyone's coming anytime soon.
N'Keal Harry.
Oh, yes.
I don't know.
Maybe that New England game, but set your expectations accordingly.
Yeah, exactly. Anything N'Keal Harry gives you at this point is a big bonus. If I had to guess, guys, for those asking, I do not think he'll be back Thursday. Maybe, but I think the Patriots game is more realistic.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got that Patriots game circled too.
So, but it'll be a quick week. I'm actually looking forward to going back and watching this. It was an entertaining game, I have to say. Like, First time in a long time I remember watching a Bears game where you're like, things are rolling in the second half, and you're like, oh my God, they might pull this.
Yeah. They took the lead in this one.
Yeah. So
that in itself is progress. And I'm actually sick and tired of using that word. And it's going to be a long season of using that word. But that in itself on the road, especially in that environment against that team, certain organizational progress was made by Matty Eberflus's Bears. You still see the roster shortcomings, the talent deficiencies, but your young players stepped up when they needed to. Kendall Valdor made a big play, and your young quarterback looked pretty good by the end of it.
And then others screwed up, and that's going to be part of it too.
Others who may not be here next year.
Yeah. And I have to wonder what they were thinking on the Vikings side of it, considering they're the ones that cut Emir Smith-Marset.
I don't think they have any regrets.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it was been like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, it is a short week for us, but we'll be back Tuesday to come back with everything from this one, start previewing the game Thursday night as well. Bears and Commanders.
Should be a winnable game.
Well, they lost today. They had a chance to win at the end. And then Carson Wentz was Carson Wentz. So, yeah, I think this has got to be a game that you pull out and find a way to win. And maybe the good vibes from today, they'll be able to carry that on into this one Thursday night. But it's going to be a quick turnaround. Thank you for everyone watching, listening. Please rate and review the podcast. Please hit subscribe on YouTube. Hit that like button. ObviousShirts.com for all the merch. We appreciate you guys so much. Tell a friend if you don't already have any. If you have somebody that you know hasn't been watching us, listening to us, tell them to check it out. Hoge Jahns.
Good word.
We will be back Tuesday. We'll talk to you then.
See ya.